This is the Lenovo Yoga Slim 7X. Now that these ARM chips have been out for a while on Windows, is Snapdragon finally ready for prime time? Now my daily driver is the Lenovo Yoga 9i. So in this video, we're going to find out how they compare and if it's time to switch away from Intel to Qualcomm. Before we get into it, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The channel is growing and I love making these videos to help you guys out and I need your support. Now my Yoga Slim 7X is in the cosmic blue, just like the 9i, and it looks fantastic. Definitely gives you a very premium look. It is a 14-inch 1800p OLED screen at 90 Hz and it looks fantastic. Now the 9i goes up to 120 Hz, but in person, it's not anything you'll actually notice. And the Slim 7X can go up to 1000 nits of brightness compared to the 400 on the 9i, and you can see that difference. Now the Yoga Slim does have a touch screen, but it doesn't flip all the way back, so it's not a 2-in-1 laptop. If you're looking for that tablet feeling, you'll want to stick with the Yoga 9. The build quality is definitely premium, and it's very comparable to the Yoga 9. The keyboard itself is not quite as good, but it's very close, and unless you compare them side by side, you wouldn't notice any difference. It has the curved keys just like you get on the Yoga 9, but the Yoga 9 has slightly more travel, but they are both quite comparable. Both laptops have great backlighting and they do have the auto feature that detects the lighting in the room to turn on and off for you automatically. So the Slim 7X has the X Elite processor and the actual model number is a mouthful. I have to look at my notes. It's the X1E78100. So the naming scheme is not as good. Whereas on the Intel version, I know it's the 155U. That's easy to remember. So the actual model numbers and naming scheme of Qualcomm can be a little bit confusing. You want to research and know which one you're getting. But this one in the Slim 7X is the top of the line from Qualcomm at the moment. I was already very impressed with the X Plus that came in the Microsoft Surface laptop. And this one being the X Elite gets me intrigued of what the flagship's going to be like. My unit came with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD. It's also got that X Elite NPU to give you faster AI tasks. And the battery is a 70 watt hour battery and its performance is mind blowing. We're going to cover that more a little bit later in the video. It also has Dolby Atmos speakers. As always, I'll cover what's good, what's not so good, and give you my final thoughts at the end, so stay tuned. The hinge feels very sturdy. It's not flimsy at all. And even though it doesn't flip all the way back, it definitely feels solid when you're using it. And it passes the one finger open test with flying colors, which is nice to see from Lenovo. The battery life is really the star of the show. This Qualcomm processor can sip just 7 watts of power in its most efficient settings. So I did my typical battery life test. I had YouTube playing with 50% screen brightness in the power saver mode with the backlit keyboard disabled. It achieved a whopping 18.5 hours of battery life, totally wiping the floor with my 9i and putting it very close to the M4 MacBook Air. But remember, that's only a 60 Hz regular LCD screen. This Lenovo Yoga has an 1800p OLED at 90 Hz and it's still getting amazing battery life like that. So really, I would say for the screen compared to the actual battery life, this is one of the best laptops on the market. In fact, when I reviewed the Microsoft Surface laptop, it got about 17 hours of battery life and that did not have an OLED screen. I'm not sure what type of sorcery Lenovo is doing here to get that type of battery life on a laptop that has an OLED screen, but it's extremely impressive and is definitely one of the standout features on this device. It's an absolute game changer. The Yoga Slim has decent speakers and you do have the Dolby application where you can change some settings. I recommend the dynamic mode so it can automatically adjust based on the content that you're consuming. But compared to the soundbar design on the 9i, it's no contest. The 9i just sounds significantly better. the 9i is far superior in quality, volume, and bass. The screen on the Slim 7X is amazing and basically just as good as the 9i, and it even goes brighter than that one, like I said. But unlike the 9i, it does not include a pen. So if note-taking or drawing is a priority to you, you'll want to stick with a Yoga 9 to get that pen support and a 360 hinge. You can always buy a pen and add it later to the Slim 7X. You just won't get that 2-in-1 hinge. Both devices have very similar trackpads, although the Yoga 9's does click a little bit deeper, but it's not a big difference. And both have the same annoyance where the upper part of the trackpad doesn't click. You have to click towards the lower half of the trackpad. Of course, you can always just tap it and not physically click it into. Lenovo really needs to switch to haptic trackpads like what you get on a MacBook or a Microsoft Surface. They just work so much better, they're more consistent, and you can click anywhere on the trackpad. Now let's get into performance. So in Geekbench 6, with both laptops plugged in, single core is almost identical, and the Snapdragon definitely has a slight edge when it comes to multi-core processing. However, looking at the battery performance, Intel does lose a bit more on multi-core, whereas Snapdragon stays very close to the same performance compared to being on battery or plugged in. But if we take a look at graphical performance, Intel still has the edge at 36,554 compared to 28,753 on the Snapdragon, and also compatibility will be a lot better on Intel. Gaming still remains a big pain point on the Snapdragon laptops. While the Intel models can play most games with nice settings at 720p, which is amazing for integrated graphics, although the performance of the Snapdragon in the benchmark is not bad, when it comes to compatibility, it's just not there. Car X Street doesn't launch at all. Spider-Man Remastered launches and runs okay, but just like when I did the Surface laptop review, there's assets missing from the game, so it's not a good experience. And while Cyberpunk does launch and run, to get the game to run in any sort of a smooth fashion, I had to absolutely drop the graphics, and even then there was stutters and hitches and it just didn't look good. I wouldn't want to play the game like that at all. Of course, you can always stream your games from a service like GeForce Now, which could be a good option for story games or single player games. And here's the ports you get on the Yoga Slim 7X.
Two USB Type-C ports on the left side, and those are both USB 4.0, and they both charge the laptop. And another USB Type-C on the right side, the power button, and then a hard switch to disable the webcam.
The charging cable is the same style that I got with my Yoga 9. It's got the charging brick with the two cables on both ends. I much prefer the style with the plug and brick together, although that can be a little bit annoying if you're trying to plug into a power strip with other devices connected. As far as app compatibility goes, it's honestly really good at this point. All the apps I installed ran no problem. DaVinci Resolve even works great on the Snapdragon CPU, so I wouldn't worry about app compatibility at this point. Most developers are making ARM versions of their apps now, so you want to double check that, but more than likely there will be a native ARM version for your program. Like I said, it's only just gaming where it's totally not there at all. And here's what the cameras are like.
And this is the camera and microphone test on the Lenovo Slim 7X. It's a 1080p 30 frame per second camera. Not terrible, not great. It's okay for video calls, but I wouldn't want to create content on this camera at all. And this is the camera and microphone on the Lenovo Yoga 9i. This is a 1440p camera, and from what I can see, the colors even look a little bit better too. So this one's certainly better. Again, I wouldn't want to create content on this, but if you're video calling, then the Yoga 9 is the better option.
So here's a few areas where I do think Lenovo needs to step it up on the Slim 7X. A big issue is that the Lenovo Vantage app is missing a lot of essential features. On my Yoga 9, there's a feature where the OLED screen can actually dim in certain zones. So if you have an application that you're using, everything in the background will dim to save power. You don't get that feature on the Slim 7X, even though it is an OLED screen. There's also no battery conservation option that will max the charge rate to 80% to extend the life of the battery. I also get errors in Windows Update where certain updates just fail to install. Something in the firmware or the OS compatibility is just not working when it comes to Windows and the Snapdragon processor. So is Snapdragon ready for prime time on the Slim 7X? I would say overall, yes, as long as you don't plan to game locally on the machine. The screen, build quality, battery life, and performance are all outstanding. App compatibility is basically a non-issue for 99% of people. I like where Qualcomm is going with their technology, and they did just announce the generation 2 of the Snapdragon chips, which should be very interesting. The biggest downside is the gaming compatibility is just not there at all, and the speakers are okay, they're usable, but they just don't compare to the Yoga 9 at all. And And the lack of a 360 hinge might be a deal breaker for those people that like to have 2-in-1 usage where you got a laptop and a tablet together. And Lenovo and Qualcomm need to work more closely to get the Lenovo Vantage features working. We need battery conservation mode, OLED zone screen dimming to save power, more stable platform updates, and tons of other features that the normal Yogas have. For most people who want a premium daily use laptop with some level of pro work and absolutely no battery anxiety, I would totally recommend the Yoga Slim 7X. I would happily trade it for my 9i and enjoy that all day long battery. The only thing I would miss is the better speakers and the 360 hinge. If you want to pick up a Lenovo laptop, check out the links in the video description or the top pinned comment. And also check out my shorts on the channel or on my TikTok page where I'm showing all sorts of cool things you can do with Google Gemini. And if you're looking for a handheld gaming device, check out my review on the Lenovo Legion Go, which is on sale right now. The Legion Go 2 has come out, but the real value lies in the first generation because it costs about half the price. My name is Baz and you're watching Pro Sharper. On this channel, we focus on making tech buying easy with unbiased reviews. If that sounds good to you, then I hope to see you in the next one.